Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, yeah, Billy Watch. Has the decision been made? And the fans are very much fed up down there in Florida land. Now, of course, they wanted him gone last year, and then he pulled up and pulled a miracle and redeemed himself.
You know, Lloyd, just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
Yeah, went 8-4 with an incredibly difficult schedule. This year's even worse. So the schedule makers did this man no favors at all, but he's had his opportunities at Florida. He's under 500 for his record, which is completely unacceptable. There's been 2 previous coaches fired for way better performance than what Billy's done. But somehow, coming out of the Sun Belt, he got a 7-year deal. Now, I have no idea why he got such a long contract coming out of a lower tiered situation. I just don't get it. But these coaches get what they want. And it's so one-sided, it's kind of crazy. I mean, every coach has that. Now, I don't think you're going to see as much of that moving forward with this NIL money because all these schools are having to be very careful with their cash. They're not able to just sign these ridiculous contracts unless it's for, somebody that's won a natty, like a Kirby Smart, or there's plenty of coaches that can still call the shots, a Josh Heupel, Lane Kiffin, etc. And we'll be talking about Lane on this one, don't you worry. Anyway, the news out there is that Florida has made their decision.
Allegedly.
That Billy's gone after Saturday. They're playing Mississippi State. It's their homecoming deal. And then, let's see, I believe they got a bye week, and I think that plays into their decision. Yeah, as you can see right here, after 4:15 on Saturday, they're off the next week before they play Georgia, and that's where they play that neutral deal there in Jacksonville. But this schedule has been brutal. I mean, look at this. LSU, well, first of all, the USF Bulls, which that really creaked them there. We'll be talking about Alex Golish also. But then LSU, Miami, Texas A&M, and Mississippi State, who's now good. Georgia, at Kentucky, that's a bit of a break. God, they need some kind of a break. Then at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State, who's much better this year. I mean, that's been their history. And old Billy's going, look, you've given me the toughest schedule in the country. I went 8-4. Well, the problem is, as you can see, they got 4 losses already and only 2 wins. So 2-4 is not going to get it done. So here's the problem. Scott Strickland is the athletic director, and of course, he loves Billy, and he doesn't want to let him go. But what we're hearing are the big money donors have called him up and said, hey, you got to get rid of this dude. We're not going to keep funding you and giving you all the money that you need at Florida if you're going to keep up with this 500 guy that he can't even get above 500 in the win-loss record. We're sick of it. So we're hearing all kinds of information out there, and you're seeing story after story. I mean, it's loaded. Everybody's talking about it. Now, this is a team, if you've watched my channel, you know, I keep up with Florida, not as closely as Tennessee, which is my team, but I always keep my eye on them because they are my nemesis. They are my Newman.
Hey.
Hello, Newman.
Hello, Jerry.
Oh, yeah. You got to always keep your eye on Florida. Never turn your back on them. Next thing you know, chomp. They'll get you. So anyway, this story obviously intrigues me to no end. I would be fine with Billy staying there indefinitely. I think they should sign him to an extension, 10-year contract, lifetime contract as far as I'm concerned. But unfortunately, I don't think that's the way this is going to play out. And here's some insight. One of my favorite sites to go to for Florida is, of course, High Top Sports. And let's see what these guys are talking about because they're in the know.
It's all over the place. You can't find one news article site that isn't at least talking about, okay, well, Billy will be gone this weekend. And usually in those cases, it's like if you know that like your head coach is gone, right? Maybe supposedly these boosters, they got together over the course of the past couple of days or yesterday or so forth, or however they want to report it.
I'll read it.
Like,
so I'll read it and then you can take off. Yahoo said that Florida's director, Scott Strickland, met with a handful of influential boosters on Tuesday and was told continuing financial support depends on a new direction with the football program. So I'll let you go from there and then we'll get into it.
Tuesday's correct. But like, so you're hearing reports coming out of like, okay, well, there's going to be a potential firing on Sunday. I don't know of any other school that like says, hey guys, we're gonna fire our coach on Sunday, but watch the game Saturday. It's homecoming. Y'all come on down and y'all buy a ticket.
Yeah, having this news drop really puts Billy and Strickland in a bad spot, because if he doesn't get fired, I mean, you've just put him in a terrible spot with the fan base. Now, if he wins by 30 against Mississippi State, do you fire him? You know, that's the weird thing of getting this out in front like this. You've set the fans up for disappointment unless you fire him, and then you look like an idiot if he destroys Mississippi State. I don't think he will, but it could happen. So it's normally what you do is what Penn State did. You just fire the guy and everybody's like, oh my gosh. But this has been going on for 2 years with Billy Napier. I guess Billy would just stand there the next week and say everything's fine.
Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here. Please.
Yeah, nothing to see here. I mean, that's what it boils down to. Strickland doesn't want to fire him. Anyway, Allie Peak has talked about this quite a bit, and that's my another go-to. And then, of course, Locked On Gators is talking about this. He's actually got a show that's he calls this show the Fired Man Walking with a question mark. I mean, everybody's asking this question. So let's see what Locked On Gators has to say.
And reports, I mean, really, for a month now, we've been having the conversations of, well, hey, it seems like this is the end of the Billy Napier era. The loss to USF in week 2 really felt like, okay, this season's not going to go the way that any of us are expecting. The loss to LSU in week 3, again, it was like, all right, well, 5 interceptions doesn't make us go, okay, it's just the coaching anymore. It's the players too. The Miami game, you know, there was like some hope up until the final 5 minutes of the game, but you know, I don't give a damn about, well, yeah, we're close. I want you to win football games. And then you had the bye week. You beat Texas. Texas A&M beat the crap out of you. It felt like for much of this year, we were just waiting, right? Or much of this season, we were just waiting. He's here. He's here. Like, again, as long as he is gone, that's all I care about. That's really it. And I will say that, like, I'm not doing the whole like insulting him and calling him names, and I'm not doing that. I get it. Like, he's about to get generational wealth. Absolutely. I don't think he's done anything malicious, right? Like I don't think that just because you're simply not good enough here, I don't think that's the reason for me to go calling you names and saying all types of things about you. I just think you're not good enough, and that is what it is. That's life. Like, sometimes things can be amicable, and that is what it is.
Yeah, the Locked On Gators guy's been very consistent. His position is, and I've shown you this, is if you're not going to win a natty or you're not capable of winning a natty, we can't have you as the head coach. I completely understand that. I would feel that way at Tennessee. I felt that way with Jeremy Pruitt. Towards the end, I was like, this is just, we've got to get rid of this guy. But then we find out that he was paying players. It's like, good grief. And I kind of felt, especially towards the end with old Butch Jones, and I knew Dooley wasn't going to get it done. And you just don't want to be in the situation to where you know your coach can't get it done. And you got to act like you care about the team, because you do. And it's so frustrating. So I feel their pain. I do. Well, Bill Clinton here. I feel your pain. It sucks. And he's being very honest. That's one of the things I liked about Locked On, all the Locked On channels is, man, they'll tell you the truth. You know, they're not going to sit up there and speak the party line and all that kind of stuff. No, they'll tell you what they think. And he's had it. He's fed up. And so are all the Florida Gator fans. They're done. Now, here is the tricky part. Scott Strickland does not like Lane Kiffin. And I can go ahead and tell you there are 3 coaches Florida's interested in. Lane Kiffin, and Lane Kiffin. That's who they want. And there are other coaches that would fill in and probably do a good job, but that's who they want. Strickland can't stand Lane Kiffin. He's one of those guys, he doesn't like Lane's mouth. He doesn't like his tweets. He just doesn't like him, period. And if you're the athletic director, it sucks to have to hire a guy you can't stand. But Lane would come in there and be successful. You know he would be. And Lane has been messing around with Florida, you know, sending Spurrier visor texts and stuff like that and tweets. So he's been playing with him a little bit because that's what he does. He's a big-time flirt when it comes to other teams. Look, he went and had an affair with Auburn, okay? They went for a weekend together. I mean, that deal was done until his family got to him and sent him a video that made him emotionally compromised, and he wound up staying at Florida. Auburn thought they had him. They had an agreement verbally, is my understanding, but, it wasn't on paper, so he changed his mind, and then he went out and blamed a reporter. Oh, well, you reported this crap. It's like, well, because it was true at the time, but you changed your mind. And we finally found that out later. Allegedly. I think, is that my second allegedly? I usually do too, unless Connor Stallions is involved.
The sign stealer guy.
Anyway, so behind him, if this Lane thing, this is going to be tough when you got Strickland doesn't want him. Lane's going to get a huge raise no matter what, because they want him at Penn State. They want him at Florida. He's going to be the first name on a lot of people's list because he's been successful at a school you're not supposed to be successful at in the SEC. He's kind of James Franklin from 10, 12 years ago. So after that, there's Alex Golish. He is a hot commodity right now with the Bulls. And, of course, beating Florida was huge for him. That was a monster win. And if you look at their schedule, USF, they beat Boise State. That's a great win. It's a top 25 win. Then they beat Florida, who was number 13 at the time. Then they got whooped by Miami, who's one of the best teams in the country. And then they've won 3 straight since then. So they're 5-1. Their only loss is to a top 10 team, and they've got 2 top 25 wins. And that's fantastic. I got to think he's the hottest name in the group of 5, almost certainly. And he's a Florida guy now, and you'd be getting kind of a Josh Heupel offense. That's another one I'm not thrilled about. I don't know that I'd be way happier if it didn't wind up being Lane, and then it was Alex Golish. I'm not happy with either one of those choices for Florida. I want them to keep Billy. Billy's a good guy, and he's detail-oriented. Don't forget that. He's very detail-oriented. It's important to know that. And that's worth big money. So behind that, there is, of course, their dream coach would be Urban Meyer coming back there. There's talk of that, but I don't see Urban going back into that pressure cooker, especially going into 9 games next year in the SEC. You've already got a horrible schedule. Now we're going to add another SEC team in there.
9 times.
9 times.
And get rid of one cupcake that you have all year. And they got to play Florida State every year. I'm telling you, Florida's up against it when it comes to their schedule. And I cannot imagine Urban Meyer, who left Florida for health reasons, because he was, the pressure was getting to him. Why would you go back? And you've already won 2 natties there. Your name is held in high regard. You go back there and you fail, or you don't. And failing for him would be 9 wins, every year. So I don't think Urban is a legitimate possibility because I don't think he's that clueless. I think he's smart enough to know, hey, I got everything the way I wanted. I'm golden. He's got his YouTube channel, and he's just, enjoying life, talking football. So who does that leave after that? Well, then you have to start throwing some money around. You have to try to steal somebody else's coach, which that's what they're trying to do with Lane Kiffin. And the same, but, getting somebody out of group of 5, you're not really stealing their coach. But who would you get after that? And then you got to start looking at all the other teams, and it's just, they're not going to be happy unless it's Lane Kiffin. Alex Golish, they would accept. Urban's not going to happen. Regina, tell him.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, Regina knows. James Franklin, that wouldn't be a bad hire. I think he's a pretty good coach. Eli Drinkwitz, you're going to go up and steal Missouri? Eli might wind up at Penn State. You never know. Eli has impressed me. He was 5-0 at one point this year. I thought without Brady Cook, that team wouldn't be that good. And the Prabula guy is not near as good as Brady Cook. He's good, but he's not Brady Cook good. I think had Brady Cook been their quarterback last week, they probably would have beat Alabama. But those are some names that are out there. But again, I promise you, if they don't get Lane Kiffin, they're not going to be happy. That's just the way it is. So we're going to find out probably Sunday because they're off next week, and that's when everybody thinks they're going to fire them. This is must-watch TV, and it's weird to have this much of a buildup for somebody to get fired. It's just what High Top was talking about. So it just kind of takes all the fun out of it for him. And again, Billy's going to walk away with $20 million, so do not feel sorry for him. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's me know we'll continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, boom, and boom. That button right there will help you get your videos. Makes it easier. It cost you a dime. And it doesn't cost you any money anyway. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
All right, I'll give it a try.
No. Try not. Do. Or do not. There is no try.